No, there isn't. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Logan County. My name's Randy Huffman. I'm Secretary of the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection. Very honored to be here today to participate in the announcement of this project that I believe has the potential to make a tremendous difference in the lives of many hardworking West Virginians. And it can also help boost the local and the overall state economy while we clean up our environment. In this particular case, cleaning up streams. We'll talk more about that later. I have the distinct privilege this morning of introducing a man who obviously needs no introduction here among friends and people that have known him for a long time. I've had the privilege of working for Governor Tomblin for 6 years and worked with him many years prior to that when he was Senate President. And I know he has a tremendous vision for West Virginia. He understands what's happening specifically in the southern part of our state right now with the hit that the coal industry has taken, and part of the vision he has, and I would say that what he's wanting to do with the Hobet property that many of you have read about, I'm sure, is more ambitious than anything I have seen the chief executive in our state undertake, and I think it's important. That project has the potential to be maybe the single biggest economic engine that our state maybe has ever seen, and it's going to be right here in southern West Virginia. And that's just an example of the vision he has. And what we're here today to talk about is also part of that vision. He wants to help southern West Virginia. He's got a few months left. And we're really busy. He's really busy trying to fulfill that vision. So, without any further ado, it's my privilege to introduce to you, a man you all know, Governor Earl Tomblin.
It's good to be home. Thank you very much, Randy, for that kind introduction. I pulled somebody's microphone off here for the media. But anyhow, I'm very pleased to be here today. And first of all, I want to recognize all of our elected officials. I see them here from Boone County, Mingo County, of course, the Logan County groups all here. And I certainly do appreciate you being here today. I think it's very important. As one of the things I've always tried to do is get our counties working together. And I've always said when we work together, we can pull a whole lot bigger load. And having served as senator for many years, and now for the last 6 years as your governor, I've seen that happen time and time again, whether it's during a time of flooding, disasters, or whatever it is. And we do it at all levels. We do it to the city, the county, and the state, and that's very important. And I've been very proud of some of the things we've been able to do, whether it be in the education or workforce training, is bringing my departments together to work together when they used to work in all silos out here. But thanks to our local officials, you've always been so supportive. And as Randy mentioned, one of the things that I'm working on very hard, I think it's going to be a real game changer for here in southern West Virginia, is the Hobet project. And many of you, I know some of you in the rooms I've ridden four-wheelers with, and we've watched this project grow for the last 25, 30 years. And it's right off the corner. So as you go past Danville over there, you probably know where it is. But there's 12,000 acres of level ground up there. If you can imagine that. And put that in perspective, that is the size of the whole city of Huntington. Now, if you can imagine the city of Huntington without anything on it, looking from one end to the other, that's how much property's there. And one of the reasons we've never been able to diversify in southern West Virginia is just simply the lack of level ground to build on. You've got to tear a mountain down to get anything done. Well, this is with Post Mine site, and that property's there. It's if you look within an hour's drive, there's 400,000 people, workers there in southern West Virginia. That includes Kanawha County. You're 25 minutes from Charleston, 20 minutes from Logan, probably another 40 minutes over to Williamson. So you know, it encompasses a great deal. And, you know, as we all know, we're watching what's happening in the coal industry. It's sad. Most of us have grown up, you know, with that as our single industry down here. But we've got to think about the future of southern West Virginia. And even though my term is coming to an end, I think I've got a lot of things in place that's going to change the outlook of southern West Virginia. And so we're working very hard on that, as Randy said. and when we're talking about getting out of those silos, we're working with DEP, we're working with Commerce, we're working with Transportation. You know, all those different agencies are working together and working very hard to make this project a reality. I was thinking this morning about when I was driving up here, it's probably been 25, maybe close to 30 years ago, when a gentleman by the name of Left Moore came to my office. I was Senate Finance Chair at the time, and which is a good position to be in. You have control of a lot of money that way, but came to me with an idea that, and many of you in this room have been involved. I know Art, the county commissioners, and in all the counties, you know, came to me and says, we need to do a trail system in southern West Virginia to bring tourism in. And 30 years ago, that was almost unheard of. You'd never think about anybody going to Logan or Mingo or Boone or Lincoln counties for their vacation or to come here as tourism. And the more he talked to me about it, I thought, you know, I think that's worth a try. And so I put, you know, the first couple $100,000 in the project for planning and so forth. And, you know, of course, the Charleston newspapers just wore me out about what a waste of money. You know, nobody's going to go to Logan or Mingo County and spend money on tourism. But we persisted, and we went on, and today, look at what we've got. You know, just driving up here this morning, I bet you I saw 40 either side-by-sides or four-wheelers, almost every one of them with out-of-state license plates. And you see that almost any given day if you're driving on either the Turnpike or Corridor G. And those are people coming in here spending dollars. They're, you know, and they spend big bucks. Our tourism people tell me that they spend more than skiers or whitewater rafters or a lot of other things. So anyhow, we're pleased to have men here. But if you think about it, you know, that's one of the main things we have here. But when people go on vacation, they go to have fun, they go to spend the money, they like to do other things. For example, if you go to the beach, there's more than just laying on the beach for 7 days. You know, you like to be able to go out to dinner, you like to go see different things, go shopping and so forth. And that's where a whole lot of that money is spent at. So anyhow, that's what, you know, I'm hoping, you know, the reason I'm here today is to look at one more activity that we will have in southern West Virginia. Obviously, we got the park, and you know, we got the Chief Logan Amphitheater, a couple of arts groups that are putting on programs for those people who like the arts. But you know, something else that we have is right out in front of this building here is the Guyandotte River, and you know, I've seen what has happened on the Coal River, and it's happened a lot in Boone County. I know that Ron Stallings is a big kayaker and has tried to get me to go for several years. I've gone four-wheeler with him. I have not made it to kayak yet. But anyhow, it's kind of hard for these guys with the guns on around here to keep up with me on a kayak. But anyhow, I'll get to that. But anyhow, you know, Art and Ron and I have talked many times about things to do to diversify down here. And I got to thinking several months ago when I was looking at the Logan Banner, which I try to do if I get to come home on the weekend, and seeing what local groups are doing here. And that is cleaning up the Guyandotte River. But think about the time growing up along the Guyandotte in Chapmanville, and it ran as black as this shirt. You know, you couldn't eat fish out of it. I mean, it was filthy. But we've been able, you know, the last 30 or 40 years to clean up this river. The fish are back in there now. You know, we're getting the sewer, almost all of it, most of it's out of there now. So, but you know, for so many years, it was considered a dump. If you change tires on your car, throw them in the river. You know, if you need to do a wash machine, throw the old one in the river. I mean, and many people, older people like me, I remember when it would flood. You tell how high the flood had been by the diapers and the bleach bottles in the trees. Well, we've got to get away from that. You know, I mean, it is a resource out there that in other areas that is bringing people in, and people are spending money and creating jobs. And you know, I was just talking to the ProStart students back there. I mean, those are kids who will probably work in the tourism industry some way. So they will have jobs when they finish these programs here. But anyhow, we were talking about it, and as I said, I was very pleased to see that local groups are coming together and cleaning up sections of the Guyandotte. And with the event, Amber, a couple of weeks ago, the Woods and Water, a good turnout for that. I mean, it's a different kind of activity for Logan County, for the city of Logan, for all our towns here. But when I saw that, what I was reading was a mile cleaned up here and a mile here. Excuse me. And so I got thinking, I think we'd be better off if we were able to get organized in Logan County and these southern counties, and let's just take the whole stream rather than going for a couple of miles of pretty water and so forth. You then go to like out here in the middle, right down for the bridge here, and debris hung up every place. Let's try to work together and have organized cleanups. So I called Randy in, and that's where the REAP program came in. Excuse me. And I said, how can the state get involved with trying to get this thing organized? And so that's one of the things that we're talking about here today, about when we do cleanups on one of our rivers, whether it's the Cole or the Tug or the Guyandotte here, that we work together in an organized fashion and then keep the rivers clean when we get them there. And that's going to require a lot of education and probably DNR writing tickets and DEP, for people who are polluting our rivers and not keeping them clean, because nobody wants to go kayaking or fishing in a filthy, dirty-looking place. They want it clean. So anyhow, we talked about how we could do this and tried to get together. When you look over, toward Charleston, but there's on the Cole River, they have the Friends of the Cole, and they've been in business for many years. A fellow by the name of Bill Curry runs that, and when they have a cleanup, they get all kinds of people. And Randy, what was it last week? They just the kayakers went and cleaned up 600 tires in one day on the Cole River. Sad to say, that's after several years of already cleaning up, but I'm sure that we probably pick up that many between here and the next bridge down. But anyhow, those are kind of organizations that we need to be thinking about. We need to be thinking about Friends of the Guyandotte, got Friends of the Cole or Friends of the Tug River, and make a community type project. Get volunteers, get our students. I know some of them at Man and other places are already involved. They can get their community service credits for doing those kind of things. So anyhow, that's what we're doing. The other thing that when I was talking with Randy that I'd found out a few days before was the HRDF, and these gentlemen here in the green are employed or at work there, and I didn't know a whole lot about it until somebody brought it to my attention. But those guys are working under a federal grant that they got, and it's to employ laid-off coal miners. And I think, obviously we got a lot of unemployed people here, but a program like this is good, but the federal funding's coming to an end on that. But they told me what they've been doing. They're working in various streams, doing the heavy lifting, things that most volunteers don't either have the time or the ability to do or the equipment to do, and really cleaning up their headwaters and tributaries coming into our major rivers. But I got to think, well, that's a great resource that we've already got in place. They've been working for a year or so, and what can we do? And then when we were told the funding was coming to an end, that's when Randy stepped up and said, I've got some REAP money that I've got discretion to do. It sounds like a great program. So that's what we're announcing here today. It will be a $1 million toward this program to keep our laid-off coal miners working, to be working in conjunction with the volunteers in our counties down here to get our streams cleaned up, to get the kayakers and canoeists and fishermen and women back on, in the streams, and people coming in here to spend the money to have some tourism diversification in southern West Virginia. So anyhow, I'm just very pleased that to be able to bring this along with Randy today, make this announcement of the $1 million, and what that will do, but not only go toward paying salaries, but also to dispose, to pay the dumping fees and everything, the hauling fees, to get whatever litter and tires or whatever cleaned up, but get it disposed of properly. And I think that another year from now, this is a one-year grant. But I think that, you know, by the end of next year, our streams and our communities should look a whole lot cleaner, being able to attract more people. So with that said, that's where we're at today. And glad to be here.
Thank you, Governor, very much for that. As the Governor mentioned, this grant to the HRDF comes from the DEP. Specifically, the source of the money is from your tax dollars. It's the solid waste assessment fee that's paid for the disposal of our garbage. And we have so this money has to be targeted for garbage cleanup and solid waste enforcement and those kinds of activities. And when we heard about this project, as the Governor said, it just fits beautifully into. We're able to partner with an organization like HRDF to do the things that are directly part of our mission statement in DEP, and we have the resources there to do it. And it's just a tremendous win for everyone involved. You know, the DEP also awards grant money to solid waste authorities and municipalities. We've worked. I see Paul Hardestein in the back. We've worked with him and Danny and the folks at the County Commission for many years with some sponsored cleanups. We've had a lot of volunteers. We try to support volunteers any time we get the opportunity to do that. I have to tell this story. Many of you here remember Mike Witt from Mingo County. Mike was a champion of cleaning up Mingo County. He was a champion for Mingo County and for West Virginia as a whole. I met Mike about 25 years ago when I was working in the program that's now REAP. And Mike was the newly appointed executive director of the Redevelopment Authority in Mingo County. And you know, he was tasked with diversifying the economy of Mingo County. And if you know Mike, remember him, very aggressive guy. Didn't take no for an answer, loved spending other people's money, and that's his words, not mine. And but he had his vision was that we need to clean this county up. We need to clean this county up. He said, I cannot, with a straight face, go ask people to invest in this county when they drive up and down the roads and up and down the rivers and see this garbage everywhere. So the first thing I'm going to do is, he said, I'm going to go clean this county up. And I have to say, I was a lot younger then. I might have been a little bit skeptical, just like I was skeptical of the Hatfield-McCoy Trail idea when it first came up, but I'm a believer now. He did it. And what I liked about Mike and what I appreciate about these organizations is they're not looking for someone to come in and do it for them. They're looking for a partner. They just need a little bit of help. Mike raised a lot of money on his own. He didn't depend upon the state to fund his effort to clean up Mingo County, and he did it. I mean, he had a map of the entire county, and he had every creek and road and hollow marked and where the problems were, and he got it cleaned up. And he involved law enforcement where necessary. So we appreciate those kinds of folks. No one cares more about the area in which you live than you. And so when we see these kinds of efforts take place, we want to support them in any way we can. And also we want to support volunteers. There's a cleanup tomorrow here on the Gynda. Is that right? It's on the Gynda. Kicks off at 9 o'clock. If you're interested in helping with that, contact us here today or register here out at the gazebo at 8:30 in the morning, and bring some boots and gloves, and be a good day to work. Volunteers, while the work they do is a tremendous asset, often have other jobs or school in the case of many of our younger volunteers, and they can only do so much during their free time. This grant actually pays, as the governor said, pays employees to keep our streams clean. This is kind of unique, and we've been doing these kinds of cleanups and supporting cleanup activities like this, as I said, for 25 years. This is pretty unique. To be able to have a full-time crew being paid to do this. Because, as you know, when you're cleaning up trash, it's not something that you can just bring in heavy equipment. You know, you can have all the excavators and dozers and dump trucks you want. That doesn't really work well for cleaning up streams. You have to have manpower, and it's some of the dirtiest, hardest work you can do. Hats off to these guys for doing this. I mean, we couldn't pay them enough to do this. It's a tremendously difficult job. Before I introduce the other distinguished speakers here today, and they will talk more about the project, provide more details on those impacts to tourism and the overall economy. I want to express appreciation to Principal David Atkins and the staff and students here at the Ralph R. Willis Career and Technical Center for hosting us today. Principal, thank you very much. And also want to thank you, the audience of people who have come from, some of you from quite a ways here today. I appreciate you coming here. We appreciate all that you do and continue to do related to the cleanup, the law enforcement, and also, as the governor mentioned, education. At the end of the day, that's the most critical piece of this, is educating our youngsters. And we're already seeing the benefits of that. I've been in this end of the business of DEP for, as I said, 25 years, and I can see the difference. Our state overall is much cleaner and staying much cleaner than it was 25 years ago, because, and I think it's a directly related to the education that's taking place with our youngsters. I'd like to now move on to some of our other folks that are going to speak today. First up is Logan County Commission President Danny Godby to say a few words about the project.
Thank you, Randy, and my fellow constituents. And I'm so thankful to have this opportunity today to speak and tell you about what this has done or will do for Logan County. You know, I'm reminded of a story, and it's not really a story we were discussing in the office the other day as we were talking about cleanups. And our county administrator, Rocky Atkins, had a good story to tell, and it's a true story. Of course, he'd been sick recently and wasn't feeling very good. Been to the doctor, had some heart problems. But as he was on his way home one evening, someone took a Wendy's wrapper and full of garbage and threw it out the window. Rocky said, well, you know, that's one thing that really gets under my skin is people littering up the place. So he said, I saw the guy pull in, says I pulled right in behind him. He said, hey, buddy, he said, I'm not leaving here till you go back and pick that Wendy's bag up. And the guy said, in another term, he says, who are you? He says, it doesn't matter who I am. You need to go back there and pick it up. He says, well, when he walked out of the truck, the guy was about 6'4", and weighed about 260. And he had his gear in reverse and was ready to get out of there real quickly. And he says, I'm going to pull out. And so as Rocky pulled out, the guy went back and picked the Wendy's bag up. No matter how mad he got, still yet, he picked it up. And Governor, we're so thankful on the Hobet project, the foresight that you have, and also your ideas of cleaning up this county. We, as a county commission, looked about 8 years ago at this thing that we're talking about, cleanup. At that time, Art Kirkendall was president of the county commission. And of course, Willie Akers and I were on there. And we saw the necessity of that. We developed a dilapidated housing program. And through this dilapidated housing program, at this point in time, we have our Solid Waste Authority and its director, Mr. Ray Perry, overlooking this. At that point in time, there were over 400 homes or businesses that were deemed dilapidated at that time. Our county has rose and done the right thing. Our citizens out of all those homes that were dilapidated at this point in time, I think we have 160, 170 that were torn down. And our people did it themselves. It didn't cost us one fraction of a cent. I think there's been two, Rocky, if I'm wrong, let me know. I think there's two that we have paid to have torn down. So that's an ongoing process, and actually it is beneficial to what we're talking about here today. Our county has always been upfront in trying to do the right thing as far as cleaning up our county. Each year, which costs us sometimes between $250,000 and $500,000, and what Randy was alluding to a few moments ago was very helpful. They have given us money to help clean our county up. We have 3 areas of the county. We have in the Triadelphia district at Mann, we have Chapmanville area, we have Logan area, to where 2 days at a point in time you can go to a congregated area, bring your garbage, and we will come along, pick it up, and take it to the dump and rid that of this problem. We know, as we've seen down through the years, as we look along the banks of the rivers where people have taken and thrown washers, dryers, refrigerators, and just garbage in itself in the streams, and it's not very beautiful. We've had some groups, as they were alluding to a few moments ago. I know up at Huff Creek and up Buffalo Creek who have wanted fishing for youth days, have gone along and manually picked up garbage out of the creek, along with tires, which has happened. Mr. Chris Trent here has been very helpful along those things. So the county has really stepped up and done its part along, and it couldn't have been done without the governor and of course Mr. Huffman in the monies that were appropriated. You know, I was speaking to Jack Bazin a few moments ago. The kayaking business, and I don't want to get into what was already said, has been fruitful for our county too. You know, when we see businesses grow and make money, that's good for us, because that's more money going into the coffers, into the county, the things that we can do. Our coal mining, which has been number one, and our coal miners are the best workers that's ever been put out there. And I love to see this $1 million grant given back to where these people can go out and do the work and get rid of a lot of these problems, these eyesores within our county. All right, the Hatfield-McCoy Trail was mentioned. The Aracoma story was mentioned. The Coalfield Jamboree. And of course, we have entered into agreement, and hopefully soon, a racetrack over in Mingo County to where it can bring people in. All these things bring monies into southern West Virginia, and it's fruitful for us. So with the declining of our coal mines, and hopefully some of this stuff will come back to where our people will be put back to work, we could see these cleanups and the foresight that the governor has and the DEP using this money wisely to beautify our county, Mingo County, Lincoln County, Boone County, and all the counties in southern West Virginia. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 20 miles of the Wyandotte River is going to be cleaned, and 96 miles of just streams. So that is a great, great help. And an eyesore that has been seen down through the years, now we're looking at more or less pristine streams where we can fish, where we can have boating, where we can have a lot of things and a lot of economic development coming into our counties, which is rightfully deserved for our citizens. So I'd like to thank the governor today, the DEP, and all the other people that are responsible for this in helping our counties and having a little foresight knowledge about what's going on. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now to hear about this project more from the tourism industry specifically is Hatfield-McCoy Convention and Visitors Bureau Executive Director, Debrina Williams.
Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter.
Governor says I'm a sharpshooter. I was actually speaking the other day at a meeting, and a gentleman asked me, he said, "Do you have that magazine with you?" And I said, no. And he said, you don't just carry it and show it to everybody? I said, no, but maybe I should. I'm not sure. But I'm honored today to speak on behalf of the Hatfield-McCoy Trail System and the Hatfield-McCoy Convention and Visitors Bureau. Tourism is a growing industry in this region. The inception of the Hatfield-McCoy Trails, when it was kicked off in the year 2000, has grown immensely and has increased in popularity every year. We tally that by the permits that are sold to our out-of-state visitors. And so with that comes the creation and the development of small businesses in our area, particularly in the last 16 years, lodging businesses. We have a little over 40 some lodging establishments that many of our tourism comes and tourism people come and they stay with us, and they do that for a period of probably 3 to 5 days. And while they're here, of course, they spend their money, and we like them to spend their money. One of my favorite things is counting ATVs and UTVs and razors and dirt bikes as they're going up and down the corner Jeep. I like to see the tags, the different states that they represent, and there are a ton of different states and different nations even who have came, and different countries who have rode the trail system, and who could blame them? Once you're up there, it kind of makes you feel like a kid again. It's fun, it's exciting, it's where you can get a mud treatment without going to a spa. So there's a ton of things, and they'll ride all day long. I'm always amazed that some of them. We just recently opened the new Devil Ants Trail System. It's over 100 miles, and their goal is to ride well over that and turn around and go back the other way. So they have a lot of fun with that. But in doing that, Jeff Lask and I often have a discussion about how can we keep them here just a little bit longer. And because we want them to spend all the money they have in their pockets, never take it home with them. And so one of the key components that has been missing probably is the river. And it is a gem in itself. And again, we're beginning to see people in this area locally use that as well as some of the visitors. But one of the good things would be if we could get them to stay just a little bit longer. And doing that, they can go kayaking. I know that in the last month, both Woods and Water Festival, as well as the Rotary Club in Man, did the Hillbilly River Run, which was very successful. And again, they're using the river. And people are very, very complimentary when they come to this area. But we don't always think it as a destination, a vacationing destination, but it has become one. And the trail system has helped to grow that in the last 16 years. And so with that, we're excited about this grant and this partnership, and extremely to see the river cleaned up and what it will do for the area. People are very complimentary. They say that this area, the people are the most hospitable that they have ever seen. And it is true. They will still stop and speak to you and strike up a conversation for no apparent reason other than to say good morning. And so we're very excited to have that. It means the economic growth for the area, and it means jobs and putting people back to work. So thank you very much, Governor Tomblin, for what you and your staff have done, and thank you for the DEP as well.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. We appreciate those remarks. You've heard a lot about this grant, and then the fact that it's going to the Human Resource Development Foundation. So now to explain more about that organization and how the grant money will be used specifically is the HRDF Program Manager, Taylor Runner.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Randy. Before I get started with my remarks, folks, I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce our Director of HRDF, Phil Linebeck. I think he has a few words to share with the group here.
Well, the only thing I wanted to do is thank the governor for allowing us to participate in the economic development of this area, because it's a win-win. We're putting people back to work, and we're also looking at the future of this area of Logan, Boone, and Mingo. And so I'm really pleased to be able to participate as an agency, and thank you very much.
Again, and just to reiterate what's already been shared with folks, Does that mean? I may not need a microphone.
It's right here.
Thank you too, Governor,
That's what I'm
for your efforts, and particularly all that you've done in the recent months. This is all kind of piggybacking, I think, what the state has experienced. But on behalf of HRDF, we're very pleased and honored to be part of this opportunity. This all began, as it was mentioned earlier, those of you that see these gentlemen here in the HRDF shirts, some of these gentlemen have been working on a project that we're just completing through a grant through the Department of Labor to clean up streams in the area. And this kind of evolved from some conversations with Randy's staff. We really appreciate the opportunity with Randy's staff, Sandy, Patricia. They came to us and asked us if they would like to partner with us moving forward to do similar activities that we've done for the past year, but concentrate in this area of Mingo, Logan, and Logan and Boone. Thank you very much. But what's going to happen here is very exciting. We're going to be hiring laid off coal miners, folks that have been affected by the downturn of the coal industry moving forward. We work very closely with the workforce offices, in this case, Region 2 down here. And we'll be also prioritizing long-term unemployed individuals for this project, as well as veterans. So as it was mentioned earlier, it never gets tired to hear the win-win activity. We've already been working in this area, but to look at the revitalization and restoration of this Guy and Dot, I'm learning all about the recreation possibility down here. And with this project, I think it will only enhance that. As I've traveled through the area when I come down to see our project currently, it's really rewarding to see folks that are extremely hard workers. This project that we're currently ending through the Department of Labor has seen 150 people working around the state on streams that were affected by a flood over a year ago. So to have a project that's going to concentrate in these three areas is very exciting. We're going to have upwards to 30 workers that will be hired through this project, up to $15 an hour they'll be earning, 35 hours a week. So while it may not be the wages they may have been used to in some of the industries they were involved in, it will be kind of a hand up rather than a hand out. So in other words, I think that the activities they will be doing will be very visible in the different communities. Our next speaker is going to speak directly to that. But I think that the other important element here is that they will be connecting with an organization, HRDF, Human Resource Development Foundation. Those of you that are not familiar with the organization, we've been around nearly 50 years. We're organized and overseen by the AFL-CIO as our board of directors. Our main goal over the years has been employment and training of individuals. And we've offered countless opportunities to people that need employment and training. I think an important element of this project will be the individuals that will be working on this. We will be very much involved with maybe future employment opportunities, getting them very involved with the local workforce office, West Virginia workforce offices, to look for permanent employment. Even though this is a year-long program, these individuals, we want to see them diversify their employment opportunities and training opportunities. And that's why we'll be working very closely with the local workforce offices to also help these individuals move forward to other permanent employment opportunities. As it's been mentioned earlier, the goals of the project obviously in the 3 different counties, and we're going to have 3 different crews that you'll see in your different counties working concurrently. There'll be about 10 to 12 workers in each crew, and they're going to target, and our next speaker maybe speak more specifically of the Guy and Dot tributaries and the different areas. As it was mentioned by Mr. Huffman, Randy earlier, part of the grant will cover all the different disposal tipping fees of the project, so we'll be working with local contracts because we're not limiting this work to just taking debris out of streams. It could be any debris. So with the REAP program, it's pretty widespread on what you find in there. It's already been mentioned. So, and I think Randy spoke very clearly earlier about the aspect that with these kind of projects, when you have people working up and down these streams, we're able to get into areas that you just can't take heavy machinery into. So it's really like having boots on the ground in the area. So I think you'll see some real impact, and we've already seen that from the projects we've already been doing. I mean, JB may speak to the tonnage that's been taken out. Sam Stallnaker here from DEP could vouch for that. So we're extremely excited about this project. I think that the aspect of it that, again, that the governor saw the vision to work with the REAP program with DEP and looked at this as a partnership with an organization such as HRDF. This isn't our first rodeo to speak on this kind of thing. We've been doing actually some flood restoration cleanups back to the Hurricane Sandy days, where we worked very closely with the different state parks that were affected by those storms. So we feel very comfortable in this environment of working, putting crews together, working with local county commissioners. We've already signed MOUs and worksite agreements with the local county commissions in these 3 areas to work, and we've already listed streams that we'll be working on. So it's just, again, we're just real privileged, and we look forward to this opportunity. Hopefully you'll see a lot of these workers out in these 3 counties in the months ahead. Work year-round, good weather, bad weather. And I got to tell you that my experience with this Logan County, Mingo, Boone County workforce that we've had through this project, they are some of the hardest workers that I've ever seen. These guys and ladies and men, many of them laid off miners, just some of the nicest, hardest working people. So we're just excited to be a part of this project moving forward. And thank you for having us.
Thank you, Mr. Runner. We have our final speaker will give a perspective completely different, I think, than maybe the rest of us did. Jonathan Bradford is an HDRF worksite supervisor, and he's an employee working specifically on this project, and we're going to hear a few words from him. So, Jonathan.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to each county that's helped. You know, it's been a help. If you just pick up a few bags of trash off the side of the road, state road, whatever have you, it helps a lot. But I'd like to say, too, that I'm also a laid-off coal miner. I was underground mine foreman. I ran a mine from the Lake Buckhorn. Worked for several years for him until I was snatched up by Taylor. And I also would like to thank Sam Stalldaker and Greg Rope. They've worked tremendously with me, and I appreciate them a whole lot. To talk about what we're doing in the past year, no county's been left out. I'm a district manager for Logan, Mingo, and Boone County. Okay, we traveled 71 miles in Mingo County, Hootie. We traveled 71 miles in Logan County. This is inch per inch. We have also traveled 69 miles in Boone County. A total of 371 tons of raw trash has came out of these creeks. And that's 1 year of work. This is my second crew. My first crew, under workforce laws, I had to work on a certain period of time. This is my second crew in a year's period. But I would like to thank them for the hard work, because it takes a special person to reach down in places that normal people don't want to reach. To reach down under a brush pile and pull a pop can out, you don't know what's under that brush pile. It takes a special person to want to get to the creek on a morning where it's 10 degrees. Now, I want you to think about that. These boys do work hard. They really do. And I'm proud of them. And I have to say I am proud of the 371 tons. And I would say this before I sat down. When I first went into the Smoky Mountains, it didn't impress me. Other mountains looked way better to me. It didn't impress me at all. You know what we like in our area? Garbage. If we would just quit it, Smoky Mountains ain't got nothing on us, I'm telling you. I am from Gilbert. I've been born and raised in Mingo County all my life. I'm proud of our county. I'm proud of Logan County, proud of Boone County. This is my area and this is my home. And I hope to make it look 100% better when we're done. And I'd like to thank you, Mr. Tomblin, and I'd like to thank you, Mr. Huffman, for the opportunity.
Governor, we should have had Jonathan speak first, maybe. Well, thank you, Jonathan. That was a very fitting remarks to end our ceremony here today. We're going to do the check presentation in just a second. Before we do that, I'd like to have Teresa Justice. Are you back there? She's the pro staff instructor. These guys, these students made some pastries back there. I've already had some. I felt it was my duty to make sure they were edible before the rest of you got here. They're excellent. So we have refreshments back there for when we're done. And I wanted, I know we've been here quite a while, but I wanted to recognize Teresa and her staff. So let's give them, I don't guess they're going to come out. Let's give them a hand. Thank you very much. There you are. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you very much. I would like to ask the governor and the work crew from HRDF to come up, and we're going to do the check presentation right now. Get the crew.
Yeah. Get all crew. Get everybody up there.
Right here.
See?
There you go. Everybody's good.
We're good now?
Now you're hiding. I want you up. You were right.
You guys squeeze in one.
There you go.
There we go. There we go.
Now you're hiding again. Ready? Right at the camera.